Hey, what is up, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, doing my review for episode 1 of the new Moon Knight, the Disney Plus series, starring Oscar Isaacs. So, uh, so let me preface this to I'm aware of the Moon Knight character, but I am not very familiar with him. So this is kind of new to me. Um, so I'm kind of just going into this sort of blind. So anyway, well, not really blind, but you know what I mean. This is a little more obscure MCU than some of the other things that I've reviewed for and that I've seen from the MCU universe. So, yeah, Oscar Isaacs is as Moon Knight, Mark Spector, Stephen Grant. And surprisingly, Ethan Hawke is as Arthur Harrow. So I'm gonna say right off the bat, this was a fairly good start to the series. Um, it I can't say it had like so I did like the characters. So Steven, you don't meet Mark until later in the episode, but anyway, Steven, he is uh, someone who's very into like Egyptian mythology, and you think, oh, and he works at the museum. You think, oh, tour guide, something like that. No, he's a gift shop person, and he, I, I like his character. Like his 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 character added so much to the show. Like you love it because again, you don't meet Mark until the very end of the episode, which I'll get into. But yeah, he's kind of a not very respected. He's looked down upon. He's kind of a weenie. His boss sucks, and he's kind of just drifting through his life. Um, but then like you kind of get the whole feeling that that something's not right because when he goes to bed he has this whole ritual. There's sand all around his bed, tape on the doors, um, and he shackles himself essentially to a post by his bed. Uh, and he has DID, dissociative identity disorder, and so and that's where Mark Spector comes in because that is his other personality, and like there are times where he will like wake up and he's in an entirely different place. He has no idea how he got there, what he's doing there, and in the first episode at least, I don't know if they're gonna play with it in any other episodes, but like whenever it goes into Mark Spector's, with the exception at the end, personality, like it blacks out, and then he comes back, and it's just like, why is there a gun in my hand? What just happened? Why is there this car going off a cliff? Why are there people with guns pointed at me? Yeah, so it was fun. Like Mark, you don't really get a thing for except at the very end, where he comes out and he's mostly portrayed through mirror play, through the mirrors until the very end scene. Like towards the end of the episode, he starts seeing Mark and his reflection talking at him, and then it goes into it further at the very end until then you actually see him as Mark, and then you see actual Moon Knight, and that's the first time where you see the Moon Knight costume. Um, and a lot of it is like I like this kind of stuff because it does involve a lot of Egyptian mythology. I love history and I love mythology, and Egyptian mythology is one of my favorite mythologies of all time. Um, and yeah, like the possibility of the Egyptian gods and stuff like that, like which there's supposed to be um, involvement of Egyptian gods in this series. So we'll see how they portray that. That's going to be interesting, um, especially if this thing is going to be wrapped up into the MCU, the main MCU. We'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, the main ones that you know is Amet, who is essentially a god who, in order to destroy injustice, is going to kill everyone who ever has or ever will create an evil deed. And it's just like, okay, that sounds like the apocalypse because, no one has. Yeah, no one has a completely pure soul, but let alone what they'll do for the rest of their lives. I mean, including kids. Like that's insane. But yeah, so going into that, that's where we come into Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur. So he is a cult leader who is very into, you know, like self like so. The very first thing in the episode is like he's shattering a glass cup, and then he puts the things into his shoes and puts his feet on with the glass. So it's like self-flagellation, except you're not flailing yourself with a whip. He's stepping on glass. Um, and yeah, his cult is based around bringing this Amet back into reality to heal the world, even though it would involve killing most of humanity. Um, he when I first at first I was just like, man, Ethan Hawke, this just seems really off. And but later in the episode, like he actually started to grow on me, so I actually am actually liking his character. At first, though, it was really weird just seeing Ethan Hawke in that kind of a role. Um, but no, I think he did a great job. Perfect combination of like a monk or doctor or something like that. Definitely very cultish. He did great. Let's see, what else can we go talk about in this without going into spoilers? I mean, I'll say the one thing that was lacking was the lack of action. So there's only really one fight, and then there's a car chase scene. And there was some really bad CGI for the car chase scene. Like at one point, like a logging truck, a car goes into it, and it looks really CGI'd. It was not great. Um, and there's a few other things, but yeah, the scene itself was great because that's where you actually start to see that his DID come into play because he'll like be Steven, and then when everything seems hopeless, he'll like black out, and then it comes back and like something happens, like a bad guy jumps into the back of the truck and is about ready to kill him. He blacks out. He comes out of it. He's holding a gun in his hands. The guy has a bullet in his head and falls out the back of the truck. Another one, two cars are trying to cage him in and they're going to shoot him from both sides. He blacks out. He wakes up and one of the cars is now coasting off the cliff. Uh, the other has to back off. It's it's really like I like seeing the interplay there, and I imagine they'll do it more and more because apparently that's his thing. Um, so yeah, it was a fun scene, but it just had some bad CGI when it came to the vehicles. Um, and then you have the end fight scene. At the end, Steven is being attacked by this sort of jackal-like creature, and that's where the actual Mark character like comes into play. First through the mirrors because he's in a bathroom. The creature's trying to break in. He's just like, "Let me take over. Give me control." And then he does, and then that's where you see the actual Moon Knight costume come, and then the problem with the fight is that most of it was off screen. Like you hear this crashing, this yelping, and then you see the creature being hauled back into the bathroom, and then he just punches and punches and punches it until I guess it kills it or something. I'm not sure. um but it seems like the punches were really drawn out. They seemed kind of slow mode, and I mean, I'm guessing it's to establish that this Mark Spector isn't someone who is he's a get the job kind of done kind of person, and has no qualms about brutally just killing monsters, I guess. So what would I say for this overall? Um, Honestly, I'd probably give this episode a 7. You know, it had it had good characters that I liked. I was invested in. I am curious to see more. I'm not fully excited though. Like there were some things missing. It it has a lot of questions. Like I don't know where it's going. I have no idea what to expect. I'm enjoying it, and I want to continue seeing it, but I just I don't know. And there were some pacing issues. Like there were some things that seemed a little drawn out. Like just constantly until like the even at the very end. It's just like they're constantly trying to establish this Steven as a total just this weak, insignificant man. And they just keep on pushing it and pushing it. It's just like, I get it. I get it. Let's move on. And there was a few other things that felt, but I mean, for the most part, this was, very above average. So again, 7 to 10. I liked it. I'm excited to see more. See more. Well, I'm intrigued to see more. I can't say I'm fully excited, but it looks to be entertaining, and we'll see how it goes. So, anyway, I'll have some spoilers for you here in a minute. But until then, I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you guys in the spoiler section. See ya. Hey guys, it is Rapmark here. So, back with some spoilers. Um, So once again, to go into some of the characters, like you have Ethan Hawke as the cult leader. That's how it starts, and he's trying to raise Amit again, who's going to bring the apocalypse. And so there, it's this cult, which I guess it's somewhere in Europe or somewhere. It looks like it's in Europe, for sure, but who knows? But anyway, uh, like there's this gathering, and like he's judging people. There's one that comes up, and he's apparently all his soul is pure. He has never done anything wrong. He doesn't intend to do anything wrong, and therefore he gets to live. Whereas an old woman comes, and she's apparently done no wrong in her life, but something about her was deemed evil, and so she was killed through some means that we're not aware of yet. But with Amit's, a fraction of Amit's power. So yeah, that's his whole thing is he wants to heal the world, and of course, he brings about like if it wasn't for the other gods abandoning and imprisoning her, then there wouldn't be Hitler or Stalin, whatever. Your typical like cult leader slash dictator, sort of like they think they're doing the right thing. And so, I mean, we'll see what it is. I mean, this is obviously just establishing stuff. Uh, and then, of course, going into Oscar Isaac's role of Stephen Grant. I mean, he works at a museum as a gift shop. He has his boss doesn't respect him. The security guard at the door doesn't even know his name. uh, he sometimes talks to this golden statue performer. it's that was actually really one a very interesting scene. Uh, but yeah, that like he establishes that he has lost time. Um, he straps himself to the bed. Obviously, he has a date on Friday with one of his coworkers, and when he tries to go on the date, he thinks it's Friday. It's Sunday. He's been gone for 2 days, and he has no idea where he's been, how he got there. It was, yeah, super bizarre. And it eventually goes into it more deeply in the episode. So this is sort of like establishing the character, I guess. So I guess we'll see how it goes further from here. But yeah, he is just this mild mannered guy. Like at one, like again, he wakes up for where this cult is that Ethan Hawke runs. Um, I just always have to refer to him as Ethan Hawke. The character name is Arthur, but it's Ethan Hawke, and it still kind of blows my mind. But anyway, uh, he's he's there. He's looking up a building, waves at this guy. The guy waves back, and then the other guy's just like, "What are you doing?" And they start shooting at him. And so he goes off into the town, just running. And Arthur like recognizes him, just like mercenary, just like, "No, not me, not me." It's just like, "Give back the scarab, and I'll let you go." So hands it out to try to give back the scarab, and something like takes control, and it's just like, "You will not let go." And then he switches hands, tries to open about it, flings it back, and just like one more time. It's like, I can't. It's just like, no, I'm Steven. I'm a gift shop clerk at the museum. And yeah, so I mean, later Arthur like sees him at the museum, and he's just like, well, I didn't believe that this was true, but now I now I see it. And then he asks her again for him to give it back. He judges him essentially, and just like there's chaos within you. It doesn't kill him, but he lets him go. And then at the end of the night, there's a creature, the jackal-like creature that essentially traps him in the museum, and that's where he goes into the bathroom. But yeah, before all that, so after his failed date, and he realizes that today is Sunday, not Friday. He goes back to his apartment, um, and discovers all this other stuff. Like he follows some scratch prints to the table, which led to a loose board in his apartment, and he finds a phone. He calls someone on the phone and just like, Mark, where have you been? And she's like, why are you calling me Mark? So yeah, this is where you kind of start to get the whole, like you definitely got it, like in the whole him waking up and the thing, but they kind of also played off that it could have been a dream, it could have been whatever, mental issues are going on in his head. Um, and then with the whole it being Sunday instead of Friday, though you start to get that, maybe that wasn't. But no, this is where you really start to get that there is like another person in there named Mark. Um, and yeah, so very interesting take. I'm not an expert on DID. I mean, I imagine that's how. I mean, the way they did it, I think it was fun. I'm not sure how accurate it would be, but it definitely was fun. I did like the play on the characters, especially toward the end when they kind of became aware of each other. Um, and so that could be fun later on for sure. Uh, Again, looking forward to like more stuff of the gods, uh, more of Mark, who seems like a Jason Bourne type guy, who just gets the job done and doesn't mind killing, harming, whatever, in order to get the job done. So, um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. It kind of just drops off with the full reveal. So I'm guessing this is where things are going to ramp up. At least I hope, because this is only a 6 episode miniseries, so they don't have a whole lot to like build up this character and then conclude this. So hopefully they do a good job. Crossing my fingers. But anyway, yeah, that's it for me. I will be doing these episodes at a time. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will catch you guys next time. See ya.